In the glittering heart of New York City, where skyscrapers pierced the clouds like jagged teeth, Victor Langston reigned as a billionaire tycoon, commanding respect from boardrooms to tabloids. His $2 billion empire, built on real estate and tech innovations, shimmered from a penthouse overlooking Central Park, its marble floors reflecting chandeliers that cost more than most homes, each room a shrine to his success with abstract art. Victor inherited a legacy of wealth and prejudice, his father's voice echoing, "Keep the bloodline pure," a mantra that shaped his life. But beneath this polished facade hid a secret, a fleeting affair with AITA Carter, a 28-year-old black janitor at Langston Towers. AITA, with her warm brown skin and kind smile, cleaned his office at night, her quiet diligence unnoticed by the suits she served, her footsteps a soft echo in the vast halls. She hailed from a small Georgia town, raised by a single mother who scrubbed floors to send her to community college, instilling a pride in hard work that defined her life, her dreams of a better future, flickering like the stars she'd watched as a child. One stormy evening, as thunder rumbled and rain lashed the windows, their paths crossed. Victor, stressed from a grueling deal with a Chinese conglomerate, slumped in his leather chair, the weight of his empire pressing down, the storm outside mirroring his inner chaos, decisions costing jobs, a life of control slipping. AITA, finishing her rounds, offered a shy smile and a cup of coffee from the break room, her presence a rare warmth in his cold world. Her southern lilt a melody he hadn't heard in years, a reminder of a humanity he'd buried. Over weeks, their conversations deepened. AITA shared stories of her childhood, picnics by the Chattahoochee River, her mother's hymns filling their tiny home, the scent of peach cobbler lingering, crickets a lullaby, while Victor, swept by a rare impulse, whispered promises of love and marriage. These were lies wrapped in charm, a temporary escape from his loneliness, a life spent calculating profits rather than feelings, his heart a vault he rarely opened, influenced by his father's racist ideals. AITA, lonely and trusting after years of isolation in the city, believed him, dreaming of a future together. A home with a white picket fence, a life beyond the mop. Her heart swelling with hope as she pictured a wedding under Georgia pines, her mother's approval in her mind's eye. Months later, AITA discovered she was pregnant. Overjoyed, she told Victor in his office, her voice trembling with hope as she stood before the panoramic city view, the skyline a silent witness, her hands clutching a worn sweater. But his face darkened, his charm vanishing like mist. "I can't be seen with a black child," he snapped, his voice icy and cutting, a blade through her joy, his blue eyes narrowing with disdain. "My bloodline must remain pure. My heirs are destined for wealth, not this." He slid a $50,000 check across the desk, calling it a mistake to erase, his mind racing to his family's legacy. Generations of white privilege he'd vowed to preserve, a lineage he believed should shine in high society, free from what he deemed a tarnish, a fear instilled by his father's rants about maintaining the line. Heartbroken, AITA's eyes filled with tears, her dreams shattering. But she refused the money, her pride a shield against his cruelty. "I'll raise this child alone," she vowed, storming out into the rain, the check fluttering to the floor like a discarded dream, her footsteps echoing with resolve, her heart a mix of rage and determination. 9 months later, in a modest hospital room with peeling paint and a single flickering bulb, AITA gave birth to Nia, a beautiful girl with her mother's deep brown eyes, her spirit unbroken by her father's rejection. The nurse handed her the baby, and Aisha whispered, "You're my strength, Nia," naming her after her grandmother, a woman of unyielding fortitude who'd survived poverty with grace. Her hands calloused from cotton fields, her songs a legacy of resilience. Their life starkly contrasted Victor's luxury. In a cramped Harlem apartment, with thin walls, a leaky ceiling dripping onto a bucket, and the constant hum of traffic, Aisha juggled double shifts at Langston Towers and a dingy diner on 116th Street, her hands raw from scrubbing floors and waiting tables, her back aching, her uniform stained with grease, her reflection in the diner's grimy mirror, a weary shadow. Nia grew up on stories of strength, Aisha's voice a lullaby against their hardship. Tales of Georgia resilience passed down like heirlooms, her mother's face a beacon in the dark. Money was a relentless enemy. Eviction notices piled up, the landlord, a grizzled man with a scowl and a cigarette, banging on their door with gravelly threats, his breath reeking of whiskey. Some nights, after being locked out, they slept on park benches in Morningside Park, rain soaking their thin blankets, Nia's small body shivering against Aisha's chest, her whimpers lost in the storm, the wet fabric clinging to their skin, the cold seeping into their bones. Hunger gnawed at them, days stretched with only water from a public fountain, Aisha giving her last crust of bread to Nia, her own stomach growling in silence, her mind replaying Victor's cruel words as fuel to endure, her prayers a whisper in the dark, "Lord, keep us safe." Yet, love anchored them. Under flickering streetlights, Aisha taught Nia to read with discarded newspapers and tattered library books, their laughter a defiant melody against the city's hum, a bond forged in struggle, their shadows dancing on the pavement, her voice steady despite exhaustion. Nia thrived, her curiosity a beacon, asking, "Mama, will we always be okay?" To which Aisha replied, "Yes, baby, we've got each other." Her words a promise etched in their shared pain, her eyes reflecting a mother's unwavering love. At school, Nia hid her hunger, trading smiles for snacks from kind classmates, her spirit unbroken, her grades a silent rebellion, her teachers marveling at her tenacity, calling her a diamond in the rough. She faced bullies who mocked her worn shoes, but she stood tall, her mother's lessons her armor. Meanwhile, Victor married Sylvia, a blonde socialite with a lineage of old money, her voice a cultured drawl, and fathered 3 legitimate children, blonde, blue-eyed Ethan, Liam, and Charlotte, groomed with private tutors and Ivy League dreams, their nursery a palace of pastel, their laughter a privilege he cherished. He buried Aisha's existence, his wealth a shield against guilt, glimpsing her face in crowds at charity events, but drowning it with scotch at lavish galas. The clink of glasses a reminder of his choices, his children's voices a hollow echo compared to Nia's silent strength. At 65, Victor's health crumbled, kidney failure struck, a silent thief demanding a transplant. His doctors, in a sterile clinic with gleaming equipment, delivered the grim news, their voices a funeral dirge, his family. Sylvia, now 50 and adorned with diamonds, his sons Ethan and Liam, aged 18 and 20, entitled and polished, and his 16-year-old daughter Charlotte, her blonde hair a mirror of her mother's, tested but unmatched, their blood a mismatch to his need. Desperation grew as his fortune couldn't buy a donor, his shady brokers silent, his private jet idle. A genetic test revealed Nia as the match, a thunderclap shattering his denial, the paper trembling in his lawyer's hands. His lawyer, Mr. Hargrove, a gaunt man in a pinstripe suit with a voice like dry paper, tracked Aisha down to their dilapidated apartment on 125th Street, its brick facade crumbling, the stairwell reeking of urine. Aisha, now 48, her face lined with toil, her hands rough from labor, opened the door. Naya, 20, beside her in nursing scrubs, her posture a quiet strength. Aisha's fury erupted. "You called her a stain. Now you need her?" She spat, her voice trembling with 20 years of pain. Rainy nights, empty plates, Nia's childhood tears fueling her stance, her fists clenched. Nia, learning of his racism and lies, that he'd rejected her to preserve a pure bloodline, lied to Aisha about marriage, promising a ring that never came. Felt anger and compassion collide, her nurse's heart wavering, her mind flashing to patients she'd saved. Victor, frail in a hospital bed at Lenox Hill, his silver hair thinning, his blue eyes dimmed by regret, pleaded via video, "I was wrong. Save me." His wealth mocked him. Only Nia's kidney could extend his life. His empire a hollow shell without the daughter he'd cast aside. In their patched kitchen, with walls taped from leaks, the air heavy with mildew, Aisha's voice broke. "He abandoned us, starved us while he feasted in mansions, his children playing while we shivered." Nia nodded. "He owes more than sorry," her voice steady, her fingers tracing the scarred table. They planned. Nia's kidney for half his $2 billion, reparations for neglect, hunger, and lost years, a public acknowledgement to clear Aisha's name. The demand stunned Victor's team, a cadre of suits in his sterile room, but death loomed. Negotiations tensed. Sylvia's protests, "You can't give our wealth to her," faded as Victor, humbled, signed, transferring $1 billion, his hands shaking, the ink a surrender. Nia's surgery was a tense marathon at Mount Sinai. Her kidney saving him, her recovery slow with Aisha at her side, prayers a soft murmur, her hands clutching Nia's. As he recovered, he saw news of their millionaire status, the irony searing. His rejection birthed his savior. Nia's charity, Aisha's haven, aided single mothers. Its opening a media spectacle with red ribbons and flashing cameras, its walls painted with hope by women who'd known hardship. Aisha gardened, her joy restored, tending roses and lavender, her hands now soft, her laughter filling the air.